The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Speaking podcast here. It's going to be probably our last full NBA-related podcast, probably till we do our over-unders in October with you two, Kris and Zack, back with us as we start to track the NBA offseason so far. We are, 5 days into free agency? Yeah, 5 days? Six days?
Official, yes.
Roughly?
But, I mean, it's been long.
Yeah.
Like the official, yeah.
Right. Kris, Zack, the Degenerate, what's up?
What's going on?
Good. So, 6 days. I mean, the first couple of days were pretty, loud and whatever. Lots of players, staying on their teams and signing max deals. Some players moving, whatever there. And then after 48 hours, it's kind of died off. I think once Kevin Durant announced he wanted to be traded, like everything has kind of ceased. Like, okay.
Because that's the seismic move that controls so much.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to make this more fair to every team involved here, at least, is that we're going to go through all 30 teams in the NBA. We're going to go through each team so far and give them a letter grade, so see how they've done so far with NBA free agency. So let's go, as we always do this in alphabetical order. The Atlanta Hawks are first. They traded, actually, for Dejounte Murray before free agency started. Also, Aaron Holiday got the 1 year deal. Other than that, nothing really major. I know John Collins is still supposedly on the trading block. They did they trade Kevin Huerter also in that deal?
Kevin Huerter to Sacramento, which I think he was kind of like in a log jam at that position, so they needed to make that move.
Right. All right. So Atlanta Hawks, what grade are we getting them right now? I mean, the Murray move is interesting because a lot of folks are very positive about it. They think this could be the move where that puts the Hawks possibly that top 5-ish. Conversation. Remember, this team was in the conference finals a year ago. Last year they underwhelmed a little bit. You make a move like this. Murray's a good player from San Antonio. With Trae Young, who had kind of an off year last year to some degree. The Hawks. What kind of grade are the Hawks this year? I mean, this free agency so far.
I will give them I don't like the move, but I'll give them a B for shaking up the roster, knowing that window for that roster was done for and that they had to make a seismic move like this. So I'll give them a B. You can clearly see they're trying to move John Collins to get Onyeka Okongwu more minutes because they know he's the future, and John Collins is kind of staled out to them. He's part of that last part of the roster they kind of need to move, who's still young and improving that they can get value for. But they just have someone lined up, a top 10 pick right underneath them, ready to go to take that spot. So, I mean, I'm happy they got DeAndre Hunter under a team-friendly contract extension. That was a big move. So,
Zack, right?
Yeah, I give it an A. And
really?
The biggest weakness is their backcourt because that Trae Young offers no defense and no size. So you bring in a guy with the length of almost a 7-footer who is essentially an all-star and on the verge of being an all-NBA two-way player.
Right.
He fills up so many of the holes on your perimeter defense, covering for Trae Young. You get another ball handler who can actually create on his own. I think it was one of the best moves of the entire offseason so far. And I think it also highlights free agency is becoming a joke where you're really just paying your own players. How many people have you even seen sign with new teams versus being traded?
Right.
I want to say it was less than a dozen players signed with other teams, and none of them were really stars. The closest thing to a star is Jalen Brunson, who signed with another team. So, for me, I think it's an obvious A for everything that Atlanta needed.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that between you and Kris. I want to say B+, but I'm actually trying to A-. Like, you got a guy, another ball handler, a guy that can, this actually could allow Trae Young to put off the ball once in a while too, because he's a better shooter than the two guys in the backcourt. So it adds some spice to that backcourt, and as Kris said, that their roster has gotten, maxed out already as it is. I do wonder though, why do they want to trade John Collins? He's productive as hell. I don't know why you want to hold on to him.
Well, I think they want to trade John Collins because there would be a better haul for him versus trading Clint Capella.
Yeah, they just know he's the only guy with good value. Team-friendly deal. I think he's only making about $20-ish million a year.
Yeah, he signed an extension like a year ago.
Yeah, so for that deal, it's easier to move, so it's just a guy that they can still get value for. And like I said, it's only because they have a Okongwu, who is a top 10 pick right behind them, ready to take over. That's the only reason why. They have a cheaper option, younger option behind them. And John Collins is he's hit his plateau. He's hit his peak. I don't think there's any more room for him to grow at this point. But a team that can use his, abilities will be able to maximize him. He'd be a perfect type of guy for Dallas, who'd be a complementary piece, who would know his role with Luka. That would be a good place for him to go.
Right.
No, absolutely.
Because he knows he's not Batman, maybe not even Robin, and he knows that, and he's okay with it, and it's good for him.
Right. I agree with the Dallas part, actually, Dangle. All right, next team here, the Boston Celtics. Their biggest move, obviously, is the big trade that I've been saying for weeks before the end of the year, that Malcolm Brogdon, it actually happened. I'm going to say A+. To me, they didn't need a major move. All they needed was someone to take the ball away from Jaylen Brown, because we saw at the end of the year, Jaylen Brown was, fumbling the ball, turning the ball over like crazy. They needed someone. They didn't need necessarily Chris Paul. They just need someone who was good enough, but cheaper enough. Brown's going to make $20 million a year, but he's a good point guard. And I think just a subtle move like that could mean Boston is still in the top 2 in the East next year, in my opinion. So I go A+ here. Kris?
I'm not going to go that high. A team that just came up short. I know because you just came up short, but I think they lucked into that run. And I'm not you see the past few teams that have made runs like this. Now Miami was kind of able to sustain it, making, get into Game 7, but a lot of these other teams like Atlanta was just in Eastern Conference Finals. Then they're in the play-in game.
Right.
It's kind of fluky, and I get it. They have 2 stars, but I'm not sure if I really love the mix. I think you got to get rid of one of them. Obviously, you're probably going to keep Tatum, so I thought they should make a splashier move. And Al Horford's only getting older. What big, you have Robert Williams there, but he's so one-dimensional. What other front court player do you have that's intimidating? Grant Williams is a small ball 4, but he's not going to be sustainable at that spot.
Right.
I just felt you saw that you can't break through. You're never going to get, you're never going to beat the elite teams with that team in Boston. They could have made a better move. I don't think Brogdon's the answer, so I'll give him a B.
All right. Zack?
I'll go A-, and it's not even for the Brogdon thing. I think Gallinari is more important.
Oh, that's huge too.
A better shooter. You're putting too much weight on Brogdon, a guy who just can't stay healthy whatsoever. So, and I think you brought him in really for the offense offensively to replace Smart. Smart's a great defensive player, but he can't shoot. And you saw in the playoffs, teams were playing 6-7 feet off him, daring him to shoot. And when his shot doesn't drop,
he's streaky at best. He's streaky at best. When he's hitting, obviously. But he's not hitting, it gets bad.
So, for me, I think if you'd have had Gallinari in there during the finals, it would have been a whole different thing. Just one extra shooter that you had to guard.
No, I forgot about the Gallinari part. Yeah, that's to me. And we were talking about at work on Saturday. That was a huge signing.
Yeah,
I think because it's subtle. I guess those subtle moves for really good teams that can change just things for your franchise. So, well, I think Boston's. Was that now, Kris?
He's not moving the needle at all. Like,
Gallinari?
yeah.
Well, let's just say this:
He moved the needle in Atlanta.
Boston did not get worse.
They didn't get, but I would say they stayed exactly where they were.
I think they obviously got.
I mean, they went to the finals last year. I mean, yes, luck and to play to some degree of that.
3 conference finals in 6 years and a finals appearance.
Yeah.
I would say they're right on the cusp, and they're just trying to find those extra little pieces.
All right, next team here, Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, you know the story. Kyrie Irving is probably going to be on the way out. He opted in his contract shortly before free agency started. And then the day after that, Kevin Durant says, get me out of here. Obviously, we discussed this Durant thing already before in the past. Everything's in the holding pattern for the time being. They have had some signings, though. They re-signed Nick Claxton, Patty Mills, back 2-year deal. We just mentioned for the show started, TJ Warren agreed to a 1-year deal. I mean, this is a C at this point because we don't know everything's a holding pattern at this point. I'm just, as I said before, the reason the Nets kind of sort of won free agency right now, and some degree not free agency, but just it was clear they didn't want Kyrie Irving long term, and they made their feelings known that we are willing to lose Kevin Durant to not have Kyrie on our team, and it held for him. So the disaster is going to be over at some point. I don't know how long it's going to be, but this has been a 3-year failure. So reset. I'm okay with it. So I'm going to give him a C, though, because we don't know how it's going to end up. So, Zach, go ahead.
I'd say it's just an incomplete right now.
Right.
You just can't give them a grade when you know they want to get rid of one player and their star wants to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they don't have to let him leave. But, I mean, everything that's being offered right now is a joke for either one of those players. So, I'm pretty sure the GM's saying, right, Sean Marks is their GM? Who's the GM for the Net?
Yeah, Sean Marks.
Sean Marks, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's letting the agents know. Good luck finding a trade partner because right now we're getting crap offers, so be ready to suit up and play.
And there's no rush. I mean, they have. No. It's not like Durant. It's like last year in his contract. We got to trade him before the deadline. Maybe we'll lose with nothing. No, they got 4 years.
No, and with having Kyrie opt in, it prevented them from having to stay under a hard cap. So everything so far has gone their way, other than Kevin Durant saying he wanted to leave.
Right.
You know what's interesting? Like the most interesting move for them of all? They traded for Royce O'Neal. They trade their next year's first round pick to pick up Royce O'Neal, which is a great starting forward from the Utah Jazz. And that was the move that was like, that's weird. They look like they're going all in, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off, and I'm like, that one is the tricky one to me. Like, maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they have a feeling that the whole thing's not going to blow up. I don't know.
Yeah. What'd you give him? Incomplete also?
I mean, until you know 100% sure that those guys aren't going to be there and don't want to stay there long term, I mean, I guess, yeah, you can't really give them a grade yet. But honestly, I really like all the little moves they've made. Like, that was the only thing is, like, I don't know the protections on that first round pick for Royce O'Neal, so I don't know, like, how bad that could get if they end up blowing up and whatnot. But, I mean, it'll see how much they offload, if they include Joe Harris in any deal and try to get rid of his contract and whatnot. So it'll be interesting.
One last positive note, and I hate to say anything positive about Kevin Durant, but he does love to play basketball. So I don't see him pulling like a James Harden or a Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah, he ain't sitting out.
So he'll come to play, and if he shows up to play with everything else they got, even if Kyrie plays his same game as before, they're going to be a playoff team, which they have to be right now because they can't tank. They don't have any control of any draft picks for like 4 years going forward. So there's no trading for just one year trash like Russell Westbrook.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't pause. Like, I wouldn't say for sure 100% they're not going to make that Kyrie for Russell deal, but who knows?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, Charlotte Hornets. The only thing so far they've done is Cody Martin returned on a 4-year deal. It's the pretty much same roster as last year. I guess a B because they were a playing team last year. So I'll just give them a B because you're not really getting any big names in that market. So I was not expected, of course. Just trying to continue to build around LaMelo Ball and hopefully that the young talent they have in that roster continue to get better. So I'm a B. Keep the team together. The team is ascending, so give them a B. Why not, Kris?
How do you not give them a lower grade because their coach literally said, you know what? I'd rather be an assistant here than be your head coach after agreeing to a deal. Let's not forget. And then you bring back a retread that you had previously. Oh, man. You got rid of James Borrego, who for 3 straight years has improved the team win total by 10 wins. And then now you go back to a guy that you fired him for in the first place. Ugh. I think it's interesting because they might be a team that if you have a bunch of teams that have just shit salaries everywhere, they might look at Gordon Hayward or like Terry Rozier, who are on meh contracts, not awful, but they're not great. And they might be able to make a move. You never know. They're one of the teams where it's like, and then who knows if they rescind the qualifying offer for Miles Bridges, but that's a whole nother can of worms right there. So one of their players that they were probably going to match any offer on goes into some knucklehead shit. So now does he just accept the qualifying offer and they get off cheap? And then he's on a prove it deal, and we don't know what's going on with that either. So I mean, I'll give him a C right now.
Okay, Zack.
I think this is one of the hardest ones. Like the Nets, you could say an incomplete. This one, I don't know if it's an F for not even trying to build a roster, or is it an A for not having to go into a luxury tax situation that could demolish your team going forward with the Mikal Bridges signing? Because he was going to get a huge deal that they were going to probably offer the same and keep him, and then go into luxury tax. Now they'll get to skate underneath. The real question, do you happen to know what the domestic suspension would be in the NBA? Because in the NFL, we know it's at least 6 weeks.
It's got to be at least half the year.
It could be 80 games.
I mean, it's half the year at least, right? Got to be.
I just don't know.
She posted the pictures of herself, very damning for his company.
Yeah.
Literally the day before free agency started.
And not to mention, didn't they have another player who just got busted with a boatload of weed? Or is that Morris twin on another team? Because I thought he was with Charlotte. But I'm 50-50. It's either an F or an A, depending on how you want to see it for the pocketbook.
Yeah, and that's kind of the hard part when you're a kind of team that's in that kind of market that you don't want to overspend and get stricken and get lassoed by contracts that you can move, but you also don't want to not do anything either. So I guess they're just playing it safe here. It's a team that had a winning record last year. They made a play-in. Let's see if we can continue to build, with this young roster. I can see this. I can see them. I can see why they're doing it. That's why I gave them a B, just because it's a good roster and you keep core together, try another year, see what happens.
The coaching things would killed it for me.
Oh right, I get that.
To fall back on Steve Clifford though,
Yeah, but Steve,
try go get Quinn Snyder or something. There's so many options. Why retread it? Come on.
Because Quinn Snyder doesn't want to take over that dumpster fire right now.
Michael Jordan should have enough cachet to wrangle in someone fucking good.
And he should have been able to get Nike shoe deal players on his team. But no.
Right. All right. Next team here. This is interesting here. Chicago Bulls. They re-signed Zach LaVine on a 5-year deal. They also signed Goran Dragic to a 1-year deal, Andre Drummond to a 2-year deal, Derrick Jones Jr. to a 2-year deal. Basically, the team together was a playoff team last year that started off the year pretty well, tailed off the end of the year, but they were a playoff team last season. I'll give them an A. Why not? This is a team another like Charlotte ascending too. We'll see where they go next year. Do they crack the top 4 of the East? I don't know. I doubt it, but keep the core together. At least you have a fighting chance to at least do some stuff. So I'll give them an A. Why not? I hate the Bulls. Zach, what do you got?
I'll give him a C.
Whoa.
It was a blah. Okay, you re-signed Zach LaVine, but
that's your star.
Yeah, he's your star, but he's not a difference maker for a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
What they have are good players, but not transcendent players, not leaders. The closest thing they have is DeRozan as a leader, but he can't carry a team. So everything you re-signed isn't going to push you any further than where you got.
Is this a team that should be in the Durant sweepstakes probably too?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, you said no. Why?
They got hit with the injury bug. I mean, Patrick Williams broke his wrist before the season started. Zach LaVine, after he started off to that all-star start, kind of was getting banged up towards the end of the year. So I think first year for Billy Donovan as well. Now you have the team chemistry. You have the coach with them all together for another season. This is the type of team that I'm okay with running it back with. Because they need that year to gel for the coach and the players to all get on the same page together. And I think you're able to sign LaVine. Is it a lot of money? Probably. Would I have done it? I think you have to hope for a more.
That's the market. That's the market, dude. You know how this works.
But at the end of the day, I like the moves.
I think it's great if you're trying to have an opportunity for Durant because you could package Williams with Vucevic and a couple of draft picks because they have picks still. And so they could go from being a playoff team to a contender to the finals.
Well, Vooch is the reason why Dragic signed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's veterans there too.
He's too old to make an impact either.
Yeah, but he's a guy that, if he needs to step in there, moment's notice, again, these are not changing the entire dynamic of the entire team, but again, little veterans like this that can come in here for a game or two, playoff experience, of course, it can help.
To get an A or B, you need real impact on your roster. For me, I'll let you guys grade how you want, but to get an A or B for me, it better change your team.
Right. All right. Next on here, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. They re-signed Darius Garland to a 5-year extension. It says he got extended. Ricky Rubio back on a 3-year deal after getting hurt this year. Robin Lopez on a 1-year deal as well too. Again, another team's extended in the East. With young talent. To keep the core together another year. I'm being gracious here. I'm going to give it an A as well. Kris.
I love it. I think it was key for them to keep Rubio. That was the real big one. They had such a solid mix of gray hairs with him and Kevin Love holding it down, and Kevin Love embracing coming off the bench and being a gunner and his efficiency taking to another level. I think he realizes that he's going to extend his career this way, and the fact that everyone's buying in the team's success, love it. Jared Allen's going to be a stud. Evan Mobley's a beast. I just only things going up. We'll see what happens with Colin Sexton, though. Be interesting. I hope he's able to stay for one more year.
I think it's obvious he's staying now. And that's the only reason why I'm giving him a B. The fact that no team made an offer, like the Magic. But the Robin Lopez, I do not get. That is redundancy on redundancy.
Insurance policy behind Vooch,
You
Wouldn't
have
hurt.
at this point, with the way the NBA is, you have Kevin Love who can play center, a true stretch five center. You have Evan Mobley who is clearly a stretch five center and their future. You have Jared Allen who is their defensive center and their presence on the inside. What point? I mean, the Rubio thing was great to bring him back from Indiana. Once, you hit free agency, you bring him back because you needed that veteran leadership. But I'd give him a better grade if they do bring back Sexton, which I think they will now.
Well, we'll see what happens. I think it's a good move. I think it's a team that, again, we don't know what the middle of the pack of the Eastern Conference. Maybe somebody gets hurt in the top of the East, and maybe they crack top four. Who knows? Anyway, next team here we have the Dallas Mavericks last year, who were in the West Conference Finals. Remember they traded for Christian Wood earlier before the free agency started. Then they also signed Joel McGee to a 3-year deal. That's pretty much only notable ones here. I mean, the Christian Wood one is actually interesting, I think. I'll give it a B. Because Christian Wood could be some. I think this is the hardest team to figure out because Luka doesn't need a guy that's like a 1A, 1B. He needs a clear. Christian Wood could be that guy. I don't know. You were saying earlier that John Collins could be a good fit for that team. I agree with you on that one. But this is the team hard to assess because Luka's so ball dominant, But I'll give him a B. I think that there's some good pieces here. The Christian Wood thing, I'm very intrigued by that. See if that becomes what could be from over the top. Maybe. Who knows? I have my doubts. West could be better next year. So we'll see what happens there. Kris?
I love the fact that they did not. I mean, they offered all the money. They didn't offer as much as they could have to Jalen Brunson. They let him walk because they didn't want to strap themselves to that type of player. So I'm giving them a good grade. I mean, the fact of the matter is they got Spencer Dinwiddie last year for KP. Then they go on and get Christian Wood for basically nothing. And I mean, the JaVale McGee thing is interesting. I mean, they're talking about they could play both of those guys together. I'm not so sure about that, to start a game with that. But they're making good moves. They're getting the guys necessary they're building around Luka like they built around Dirk, They need to surround by stars, just solid, steady role players. But a guy like Christian Wood could easily make the All-Star team. A guy like Spencer Dinwiddie could easily make an All-Star team. So it's not like those guys are scrubs.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not bona fide superstars let's shift our entire roster to get these guys. No, you go on, you make these team-friendly deals. They're not mortgaging the future going on again, these guys. But they could be very difference makers. So I give it an A+.
Go ahead, Zack.
I wanted to give him a lower grade until I listened to Kris. So, no, because with the salary implications, I mean, that's huge for Dallas. Because I think losing Jalen Brunson and not replacing him with another point guard who can run the system if Doncic gets hurt is a big deal. But as long as you're building around Luka, the trade for Christian Wood, that's a home run, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, perfect pick and roll player who can also stretch out from behind the arc. And I think he hits at 37, 38%. So he's a pretty decent shooter from 3-point range for his size.
He's a center, right? He's a clear center, or is it full power forward center?
More power forward.
Okay.
But for what they need, it can work out, especially when so many teams like to play small ball. At that point, you can slide Wood in as a 5. So a B- for building around Luka, but there's a lot of hesitation if they don't find another point guard who can run an offense.
Yeah. Although
that's what Jalen Brunson was. He can't. He's not an off-ball shooter.
Right.
So it didn't work having them play together. But when Luke is out, he was great for the team. And so they have to find another point guard on the market to do that.
Although, it makes you wonder, though, like, are they going to go positionless now going forward? Just kind of like, Luka brings up once in a while, and Tim Hardaway brings up once in a while, and, things of that nature.
No.
Okay.
Luka will always take the ball up and dictate the offense.
But then there you go. That's probably why they don't need a quote-unquote point guard. I agree with you. They probably should have one. But, Anyway, next team, Denver Nuggets. They extended Nikola Jokic, 5-year deal. Biggest NBA contract in NBA history, if I'm not mistaken. Also signed DeAndre Jordan, Bruce Brown also as well too. They keep the core together. They get guys back next year. I mean, you can say they've gotten better by adding. I mean, DeAndre Jordan is washed at this point, but who knows? I give it a B-, I guess. There's no significant moves here, but whatever.
I give them a D. They did nothing. They literally did nothing.
I'll give him a C then. Screw it. Give him a C.
DeAndre Jordan is nothing now.
He's done.
He warms the bench like Udonis Haslem. That's all I gotta say.
Go ahead, Kris.
The trade they made with Washington was interesting. I thought they lost that deal. They traded Monty Morris and Will Barton for KCP and Ish Smith. Like, Ish Smith may or may not make the roster at that point, and KCP is like a 3-and-D guy. But Will Barton and Monty Morris were, I think, more of a difference maker, especially with everyone else being out. I think KCP fits a little better with a healthy Michael Porter Jr. and a Jamal Murray, but losing that depth when you don't know about these guys, I don't know. Great, you sign your 2-time back-to-back MVP to the largest deal in history. Good, he deserves it, but I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is Jamal Murray's health, Michael Porter Jr.'s health, them being healthy and making a deep run. But that's their whole window right there. I just didn't like the moves they really made.
Yeah, and I didn't even like their draft pick. So, I mean, what are you doing?
All right, next team here, the Detroit Pistons. They signed Kevin Knox to a 2-year deal. Mark Bagley III is also back on a 3-year deal. They had a really good draft, though. A lot of people said they were the best team in the draft. Give it a B. Zach?
I misheard who we're talking about.
The Detroit Pistons.
Oh.
Good draft, though.
I guess. I mean, I'm not buying the hype of Ivy, but I'll trust everyone who says he's going to be great.
That's what I'm saying.
So, I mean, as far as building your backcourt, you did it. If those are the guys you're building your backcourt and you believe in them, you did great. And I think signing Bagley the third to a cheap ass contract, that was great. So I don't see them getting better overnight like Cleveland did last year with the Mobley thing. Mm-hmm. So I'll just stick with a C.
Kris?
The Jaden Ivey thing's interesting. Obviously, they did not expect him. Everyone had him pretty much pegged as the number 4 player in the draft. You had the big three big men, obviously 1, 2, and 3 guys, and everyone had Ivy as the number 4 guy. So when he fell to 5, I was like, oh, great pick. But
I heard a lot of people talking how Sacramento was going to skip him purely because they had Fox already, and they didn't want that redundancy.
But to me, it's like, well, Cade Cunningham's probably going to be your number 1 ball handler, and because Ivy he's not a dead-eye shooter. He's more like he's more of like a ball dominant guy. I don't know, like, really how great of a fit that's going to be. Like, it'll be interesting for sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, Ivy
especially
had
for a
out of the
team.
top 5 picks, Ivy was the worst 3-point shooter of the 5. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at a backcourt off-ball shooter who's not holding the ball, it didn't work well.
Right.
But the rest, I mean, especially and like you wasted another top 10 pick on Killian Hayes a few years ago. So they have like this glut of like young guards now.
Yeah.
But the pickup of Marvin Bagley for, $13 million these years is not shit. So
Right.
to get the guy who was taken before Luka for that, I mean, it's worth the risk. And they've been hitting on their draft picks so far. Like Sadiq Bey has been killing it. Isaiah Stewart's good. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna give them just because I didn't like the draft pick that much. I'm gonna go with B.
Okay, like me. All right, the champs are here. The Golden State Warriors. They signed Dante DiVincenzo to a 2-year deal. Also retained Kevin Looney on a 3-year deal as well too. I'm gonna be straight with you. This is A+ for me. It's an A+ for me. Okay, your core is still there for another year. Then you add guys that can just only add to your already championship roster as it is. Guys that I really can add. The rich get richer here. It's A+. Not even close. I love the Dante DiVincenzo move. I love that signing. Zach.
I'm going to give it a C.
Whoa.
Because I think the signing of Looney was huge.
Oh, yeah.
I did not expect him to lose both Porter and Peyton III. I expected him to lose one or the other and probably Peyton III. But look, right now, they are counting on getting healthy. If they can get Weissman back being healthy and the continued growth of Kuminga and Moody, it will be great. But as far as an off-season goes, there's not much you could do other than trying to avoid paying $400 million total on a salary cap because of luxury tax dollars.
Nothing can do. I mean, Gary Payton had a great finals. He probably got this contract based on the finals alone. How great he was in the finals.
Maybe.
But I mean, can't keep everybody. It's hard. So, Kris, what you got?
Going over like the plans, and I thought the only way they'd be able to sustain these like long stretch, like dynasty type stretches, is retaining guys like Otto Porter who have Otto Porter's made over $100 million in his career.
That dude is fucking
not being able to keep him after he tasted like the team success, and dude, he was starting in the finals. Like the fact that you couldn't retain him, I felt like Gary Payton also, he was the first guy to really get a chance in the NBA. So I thought maybe they'd be able to keep him because they were close on the money, but Portland threw in that third year and that was a wrap. So it was, the Looney deal was huge because he stayed. Essentially, he's never been anywhere. He knows his role. He knows he's never going to be some like max player. So he stayed and took less money. Good for him. He's been a crucial part of their team success, but those little I don't like the Dante DiVincenzo like signing. Like he never showed me anything in Milwaukee for me to be like, I think he's being ready. It's tough to tell those Villanova guys because they were all like together. They're really team oriented, but to me, I don't like their offseason so far. I'm gonna give them a just for keeping Looney. I'll give him a C. I won't go higher or lower than that.
Shoot, I guess I'm generous. Look, the thing is, though, they got to keep some sort of flexibility because they got to figure out Jordan Poole next year. They got to figure out Wiggins next year also as well, too. So they got a lot of decisions to make. So, obviously, if you want to keep Jordan Poole and or Wiggins, you got to let some people go, unfortunately. I think they look at the long term as well, too. Who are the most valuable guys in this roster we're going to need for the next 3-4 years? I don't think Gary Payton's going to hurt in the long term. Yeah, it hurts now, short term, but I think they can figure that out, So, anyway, Houston Rockets, let's see, hold on. They didn't do anything, really. They signed like one guy, Deshaun Tate, on a 3-year deal. I'm giving him a D. They haven't done anything. They lost Christian Wood. I mean, anything. So that's a D alone. Maybe D minus. Zach, what you got?
I give them a B off of their draft alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're forgetting. I think they really got the best player in the draft. All right,
Remind folks who was it again?
Smith.
Yeah.
Jabari Smith.
Jabari Smith, right.
Yeah. Dude who can shoot 40% from 3, get you 10 rebounds a game. Unbelievable defensive player. That was huge. So that alone, just falling into their laps and not screwing it up, I'll give you a B on your draft.
I will say that he is definitely of the top guys we were saying going to the draft a couple weeks ago. To me, I look like it was a guy who was most like the guy that I could see playing 10 plus years in the league. May not be a star, but he'd be a valuable veteran, on certain teams. So I'll give you that. Kris.
I love it. Jabari Smith. I was just gonna bring that up after you said that, Ernest.
Yeah.
Him falling to them was such a tailor-made pick for their fast-paced offense and the way they operate right now with their youth. Him and Jalen Green, 2 electric wing players that can go up and get it. I think all they're missing, I don't know if Kevin Porter is the guy that's really going to take them there.
Right.
But if they can get some elite ball handler with vision that can get these guys the ball, I think they're building for the future. When you tank, this is the type of guys who need to fall to you to continue that upward ascent. So I'm all I love their moves. We'll go Christian Wood. I wish they would have got more for him because he was actually a higher caliber player, but he didn't have the resume to really garner a huge haul. So
it just would have been hard to play Wood and give Smith the amount of minutes he needs. So.
Yeah, obviously they had to clear the way. So I give him a B plus.
Okay. All right. Next team here, the Indiana Pacers. They signed Jalen Smith to a 2-year deal. That's it. I mean, that's it. Give him a D.
You're not going to give them any credit for what they got for Brogdon, who hasn't really played lately?
I mean...
You're not going to give them any credit for their draft picks?
Okay, C minus then. Maybe C minus. What they get? Draft picks? That's it, draft picks, right? This draft picks?
I mean, pretty much. I don't see any of the... Maybe one of the guys they got from Boston will actually be a starter for them, but...
Mm-hmm.
There's no one who's gonna blow them away, but I think they're in a situation where they're in a tank mode. So to get everything they got and get a first rounder, help build out your roster for the future.
Right.
I mean, when you're tanking, you got to do stuff like that. So I give them a C minus.
Okay. I'll do the same too. Convince me. I totally forgot about the Brogdon trade on their end, what they got, because nothing stood out. They got draft picks, and are they protected?
I mean, I don't.
What about Daniel Tice?
6 players, so.
I mean, he's okay, but I mean, he's someone that's gonna be okay.
At most, he's gonna be backing up Turner.
Right.
At least now, Miles Turner will get every minute possible so that he can shine.
Or get traded.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in Indiana because Minnesota was looking at Miles Turner before they gave away the house for Rudy Gobert.
Oh, we're getting there, but save that. I'm saving 10 minutes for that part of the podcast. Trust me on that.
The fact that they couldn't get some of that bounty for him, man,
you're disrespecting the only team in my list that got an A+.
Again.
It's interesting. I don't know what's going on with Indiana. Clearly,
pick the tanking again, dude. That's exactly what I said. It's true.
Yeah, but they're getting back.
And don't
good
forget,
players.
they got Halliburton mid-season, so they
Because
got
I'm saying,
a new
like,
point guard.
they got Halliburton, and they seem to be, like, I don't know, they're just weird. Like, they're not fully committing to the tank. I don't know how I feel about that.
There's only so much. There's only so much tank you can do.
If you're going to trust the process, you got to just go all the way with the process.
It is kind of hard to tank when you do have a guy like Halliburton.
Yeah.
And you have Turner, who is a legit top 10 center in the league, if not top 7.
Right.
So
that's generous.
But we're talking center, not power forward.
Say that for the over on the podcast in October. All right, next one here, we have the LA Clippers. Nicholas Batum returning to your deal. John Wall, who got bought out by the Rockets, also to your deal. Zubac also, future extension. I mean, all considering, if this is all assuming Kawhi is healthy, Paul George is healthy, this team was going to be a playoff team until Paul George got COVID to play in. This is an A, maybe an A plus almost. I mean, the John Wall move alone is like, John Wall can even be 3/4 of what he was prior to injury. I mean, this is a team that can change the entire Western Conference upside down. So I give him an A. Zack?
I'll give him a B.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you tell me how many orthopedic surgeons are on their team, maybe I'll give them an A.
Well, Steve Ballmer has the money, so
we got one for every player on the team at this point.
Steve Ballmer has the money. Let's be clear about that. He has the money to take care of business, so it's okay. Kris, what you got?
I'll give him. I actually don't like the Zubac deal because there's so many games where he doesn't even hit the court because he's slow-footed, like old school center that in today's NBA will just get abused. So to me, giving him like a 3-year, $33 million deal is kind of on the high side for me. I say, you like the team, give him it's a semi-friendlier deal. I mean, I guess that doesn't seem like such a horrible deal these days, but I don't know. I think there's too many games. There's too many games where that dude will not see the court because he just teams like Golden State will run him out the fucking gym. So guys like him are tough for me, but getting John Wall outweighs all of that. I mean, at the end of the day, their team relies upon Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Getting those guys healthy. I mean, one missed the entire fucking year, and the other guy missed huge chunks of the year. So getting those guys healthy, good to go with a guy like John Wall could mean everything. So
yeah, I mean, if John Wall can come back to close to his all-star level, being able to move Reggie Jackson back to a more natural shooting guard position with less minutes, that's huge. But
he should be a 6-man, honestly.
I just can't give him an A when there's too many injuries.
All right, next team here, the Lakers. I mean, they have signings here. I mean, they signed, but there's nothing really of significance. I mean, they can't really do anything. Russell Westbrook opted in his contract. They're on the holding pattern now for Kyrie Irving. So right now, it's a D/incomplete until we figure out what's going on with Kyrie. I mean, the thing is, Kyrie, for all the talk about Kyrie being, a quote-unquote cancer to the team, and we get that, if Kyrie's available, he's better than Russell Westbrook. Let's be clear. We're not talking about Kyrie.
I would say he's a better player, but he's a better fit for that team.
Yeah, because LeBron.
Well,
he's just a better player. There's not even an argument that could be made that Russell Westbrook at this point in his career is better than Kyrie.
The criticism of Kyrie has zero to do with basketball. It's all to do with the off-court shit.
One guy is full of heart, determination, will give you everything he has. Another guy won't, but he's.
Oh, I agree. If you give Kyrie Russell's heart, he's probably the best point guard in the next step guard in the league. But that's not the case.
I give him a D.
So did I.
I mean, you lost Monk.
That's true. That's a big loss, I think.
Yes, I know you brought in Juan Torresco, or however you pronounce the dude's name, and he was really good in Adam Sandler's movie. I'll give him a lot of credit for acting, but at this point, I think Monk would have been a better fit for that team than bringing him in. And as far as Westbrook Kyrie thing, Kyrie would be great for the Lakers. But why is everyone believing that the Nets owners want to help the Lakers get better and pay a penalty for a 27 or 29 draft pick? I just don't get that. Trading Kyrie for Russell and a draft pick is insane, because you also have to either give them Harris or Curry.
Yeah.
It's just boggles my mind when I hear people.
And let me say this real quick: if that plays out where Lakers get Kyrie and another shooter, all of a sudden, if we assume AD stays at least relatively healthy, LeBron same thing too, and Kyrie plays most of his games, now is when LA being back in the title picture again. Let's be clear about that.
I don't see the Nets even buying out Kyrie, because it's better for them to just keep him for the year and let him go into free agency for your salary cap going forward.
That's very true. Especially you can't find any assets out there to get anyway, so fuck it. I agree. Did you go on this one, Kris?
No. The fact of the matter is the team sucked last year because it got no shooting. So when you go over the additions, Troy Brown, 33% shooter on 2 attempts per game, sucks. Damian Jones, big man, doesn't shoot threes. JTA from Golden State shot his lowest percentage ever last year, but career is a 36% on 1.5 attempts. And the only guy who actually puts up threes is Lonnie Walker, who was a former lottery pick from the Spurs, and he shoots 34% on 3.6 attempts.
He puts up 3.5 threes a game. None of these guys are shooters.
The fact of the matter is, they addressed their biggest weakness by compounding it, and that's not the way to get out of the hole. I think Rob Pelinka is showing his incompetency as a GM and needs to go back to being an agent. I think that's what it really comes down to. Granted, he was able to get the superstars, but to me, clearly he's not fit to be a GM, because the way you build these teams around these studs is nailing the free. And last year, I was so shocked that they got a young Kendrick Nunn to their contract and a young Malik Monk to take less money. And it mind boggled me. And
dude, you were huge about it. You actually were thinking they were going to win the West, at least.
Yes, because of the fact that those young guys, and then, obviously Malik Monk hit, and then all the rest of them did not. Kendrick Nunn didn't even lace up for them. So, it's interesting to see, but these moves don't move the needle with the way they needed to for how bad they underperformed last year.
Right.
The whole offseason will revolve around if they can get rid of Westbrook or not.
I think Pelinka should have lost his job just on the Anthony Davis trade. You gave up so much for a guy who wanted out. It's the same thing with the Carmelo to New York thing.
Yeah, but
he was about to be a free agent, and you knew exactly where he wanted to go.
You get a ring that nullifies everything, and they got their ring out of AD, so that's just some move that you can't.
That's they got the ring. I know it's a bubble.
But they would have gotten AD in the summer for nothing, without giving up anything.
When you get a ring, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Granted, bubble, we get it, but you got the ring. It doesn't matter. It's in the history books. All right, next team here. It's Kris's Memphis Grizzlies. They Tyus Jones returned on a 2-year deal, but the big one, of course, John Morant, 5-year extension. I'm sorry, you holding star for a long time. You get at least a B here. At least a B. John Morant's guaranteed to be here a long time, so that's good for me. Zack?
You get a C-. What does re-signing your players, especially John Morant, who couldn't have left even if he wanted to? I don't get this concept. We're talking free agents, what you did in your draft, and what you did in re-signing your free agents. Nothing they did made them any better. It's status quo.
Okay. Kris? You're the Kris fan.
I like the fact of what they did. You let Slow-Mo walk, which was, he was a good player, but I like the fact that they acquired 2 mid-round, first-round picks and picked 2 guys that fill holes right away. And I don't want to say this in a way, but they didn't pick dudes that they knew were going to blow up into stars. They picked dudes that knew they're going to be career role players that they need to fill roles for them. So I'm okay with that. You got the guys that you need. You got Jaren Jackson signed up. You got John Morant signed up. You hold on. You don't lose any guys. Like Dylan Brooks still there. Desmond Bane's still there. You just build to that depth of the roster, and you keep chugging along.
You don't think the loss of Milton will have any impact?
No, because he was so spotty as it was, and he was a very streaky player. So to me, that's not a huge loss either.
All right.
All right, next team here. Oh, it's the greatest team in sports history, the Miami Heat. They lose P.J. Tucker, obviously, to Philadelphia. But they do bring back Victor Oladipo, which shocked me, on a 1-year deal. Dwayne Dedmon on a 2-year deal. And then today they re-signed Caleb Martin to a 3-year deal. Obviously, losing P.J. is going to be huge, at least in the short term. I'm glad they didn't match what Philadelphia was going to give him. 3 years, $34 million for a 37-year-old player who may have one more good year left in him. We'll see. So that was, in my opinion, was smart. I give him B+. Because the fact they got Oladipo to stay another year. Especially now that probably not getting Durant. They're in the mix, but probably not getting him. So at least keep the core together. Another year. Oladipo was productive at the end of the year during the playoffs. Another prove it year for him, I guess. That's why he sees it. And Martin was a very good swing player last year for us. So, yeah, I'm going to B+. Why not? So, Zach, what you got?
I know I just said re-signing your own players does not get you anything above a C.
You did say that, but however, the thing is, though, I thought they were going to lose
I am
those
with
guys.
you. I will give a B- because of the Victor Oladipo signing, with the thought process going that he will become part of the package that goes to the Nets for Kevin Durant. The reason why I say it is he's probably going to get 30 to 35 minutes a game now. I don't see Kyle Lowry getting that many, playing more than 25. So
Which is probably smart anyway.
So I think a Hero, Oladipo, Robinson type deal for Kevin Durant. If I'm daydreaming for halfway down the season of picking up Durant, because that's when I think Durant's getting traded, middle of the season, then I think it's a B- grade. Also, I loved your draft pick.
Oh yeah, Jovic.
However, I'm not good with European names. Whatever.
Jovic. They think of Jokic with a V.
But he's looked good.
Yeah.
And as far as his measurements and his talent, I think it's a great pick.
You're starting to sound like a closet Heat fan now.
Well, you guys know how to develop players, so
duh.
That's also key.
Being an Orlando fan, you're welcome to come to Miami for one too. It's the same. Chris, go ahead.
Well, I like having losers as my team.
They set the bar real low last year. They got an F last year for that Kyle Lowry signing. So this year we're gonna give follow it up with and by the way, the Oladipo deal got modified. It's a 2-year deal now.
Really?
The second year is a player option.
Yeah, he's opting out.
But the first year he's actually making less money now to help Miami stay out of the hard cap and luxury tax.
What a guy.
He actually took a more team friendly deal for them by doing it this way.
What a guy.
But
he was young enough to where he could still get a big contract.
Yeah.
Did you see PJ Tucker had a thank you Miami fucking post?
Yes, great.
Butler said fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah, Robin. I love Butler, dude. Fucking love that.
But overall, I guess To me, this is one of those things where it's a D until they make a big splash because
wow.
You're
until
an asshole,
Ernest,
Kris.
really? You're going to sit back and take that shit?
to me, it's like one of those things where it's like they can't be stagnant. Like this team, at this point, I just don't see like anyone like Bam has hit his point. He's not taking another level step up.
Probably not.
Jimmy Butler is what he is. As I was the only one on the show to put him in top 10 first. Thank you very much. He's a top 10 NBA player, but he is what he is.
I made that point too.
He is what he is. And then Kyle Lowry is only going to get worse. His health is degrading. He's older. And the rest of the team, it's no one like Tyler Hero. I think he's maxed out right now. Like he is a gunner. Like obviously, is he going to be six man forever? No, he's a starting quality player. But is he ever going to truly become this like superstar that like he's essentially what James like at this point in his career, he's like James Harden in OKC. But if you were to give him the reins, would he be able to take off with it like James Harden did? I don't think so.
I think he might. I thought he ran the point good.
But
maybe I watched those games wrong, but I thought he would play great as a point guard.
To me, every time Jimmy Butler is out of the lineup, his efficiency has always tanked. His playmaking goes up, but his efficiency always tanks when he's the keyed guy on defense.
Yeah, but if he's the only one that can score on the court and everyone's keying on him, obviously he's going to be a little bit less. I get that.
But there's a lot of dudes that when given their chance,
consistent amount of time to also run that system.
Right.
It's really hard to make that step when you're not given enough.
That's a bit harsh there, Kris, in my opinion.
You think SGA isn't getting that same treatment? His numbers don't go down.
But SGA actually gets it every game. Tyler Hero isn't given the reins every game.
When you get the chance, you can't consistently go 7 for 23 every single time, 9 for 29 every time he has a chance to like step up and fill that role as Batman. He ain't that dude. He's just not that dude. He can be a solid number, like a solid starting 2 guard or an explosive 6 man, but I think he's never going to be a superstar. So to me,
I think
they have to make another move. Like they have to do something.
Well, right now that holding pattern, because right now the holding pattern for either Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell.
I think Donovan Mitchell's done. There's no chance for him.
You can't get Donovan Mitchell. He's on a rookie max. You have Bam on a rookie max. You can't bring in Donovan Mitchell unless you get rid of Bam.
The thing to me is Kevin Durant said he only wants to come to Miami if like everyone's still there. And to me, it's like, well, how the hell are you going to, like, get your salary on top of Bam and Kyle Lowry and Jimmy? But, like, it's not possible. So, like, when guys say shit like that, I'm like, what is he really saying?
Right, true. All right, next team here, Milwaukee Bucks. Found their offseason very interesting here. They retained Bobby Portis on a 4-year deal. The deal that really got my eyes, like, whoa, Joe Ingles, 1-year deal. They also kept Wesley Matthews, Serge Ibaka's on a 1-year deal as well too. Dude, I gave him an A. If Joe Ingles is healthy next year, another guy starts to 4, Milwaukee's back next year. I give him an A. Zack.
I'll give him a B for that exact same reason.
Okay.
I mean, he is one of the streakiest 3-point shooters in the league. When he's on fire, look out.
Yeah.
Everything runs through Giannis, so.
Well, it's the same, but he'll run through Giannis, which means he'll get looks.
Yeah.
So, Kris?
I'll
give him a D. You love it. Ooh.
Hey, love the moves. They just know how to build around the current core. They got their big 3. They know what they need. They need solid veteran. Bobby Portis showed him the loyalty by taking less money last year, so they reward him this year. He's just been balling out.
But that contract's too long for Bobby Portis.
No, he's still young. Still young.
What's he, 33?
Wait. Oh, no, less than that. Like, his late 20s.
No, he's way younger than that. Yeah, he's not 30 yet.
Oh,
no
man,
way.
I thought he was 33, 34.
I'll tell you right now.
No. They know how to build their team. So they're just filling in the gaps. And that's
Dude,
good.
Mike Portis is 27 years old.
Holy shit. I thought he was like, oh my God, I really thought he'd been in the league forever and a day.
No, he's 27 years old, buddy.
He came straight from Chicago.
Okay, then, you know what? I will correct that. An A- then. I really thought he was much older.
He's a great glue guy, too, man. He's a great glue guy. Like, he's in the right spots he needs to be. That is a really solid team with great chemistry. Like Golden State in a sense, too. You know what I mean? But a superstar is really just a guy that uplifts his players and stuff. Man, I think we're getting Milwaukee and Golden State next year, honestly, in the finals. That's what I think. Anyway, next team here, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here we go. The main event of this podcast is the T-Wolves. So they extended for Carlton Towns to a 4-year deal. Bryn Forbes to a deal. Torian Prince 2-year deal. Kyle Anderson to 2-year deal. They traded for Rudy Gobert this past weekend. And they gave up Malik Beasley. They gave up another piece and then 3 draft picks.
No, they gave up 4 actual draft picks.
4 draft picks.
Last 2 first-rounders.
Right. For just Rudy Gobert. That is it. Again, have you seen Rudy Gobert's contract? We've been saying this podcast last couple months actually. Rudy Gobert. He's a fantastic defensive player. But that's all he is. Also, I guess Carlton Towns is playing the 4 now, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I gave a C- just because only because we don't know how it's gonna play out. The Rudy thing's gonna play out. Let's see how it plays out.
Who wants to go first, Kris?
Wait, what did you give him, Ernest?
I gave him a C-. Only because I don't know how it's gonna play out. If they go to the conference finals next year for some fucking reason, they look good in the process.
You give Cat the big extension.
Right. You lock in your guy.
Just based on the Rudy Gobert trade alone, F minus if that's possible. The worst trade in NBA history. Not even close. You're telling me they claim there are so many suitors for Rudy Gobert. Who the fuck can absorb $45 million per year for the most obsolete position in all of basketball? The first 3 first-rounders they gave up are completely unprotected. And remember, this is the NBA where you cannot trade consecutive draft picks. So you're telling me the third of those unprotected picks are in 2027. Those guys aren't even on the team anymore. And the 2029 first rounder is only top 5 protected. So if it lands anywhere else in the lottery, they have to give that one up to a 2026 pick swap, their first round pick that they drafted this year and one from a couple years ago. Are you for real? For that guy? The guy with the albatross contract in the whole NBA? I'll take Russell Westbrook's $47 million for 1 year over Gobert's 45 plus.
Agreed.
More
Agreed.
Serious?
The only reason I gave a C-. I want to go even lower was because let's see how it plays out for year 1 at least.
F-.
Wow. Zach, go ahead, man.
Oh, absolute F. I'm sorry. Your draft pick this year, Kessler, set the SEC record in blocks. This guy I watched him have 17 blocks in 1 game. All right. Your main reason for drafting or trading for Gobert was the fact that teams scored at, I believe it was a 72% clip from inside the paint. So you were bringing him in to protect the paint. And you just drafted a guy who crushed it in the SEC. And while y'all are looking at the 27 and 29, the 20 to 23 draft pick could be top 10 with just a single injury. Mm-hmm. If Towns or Edwards goes down, that is a top 10 lottery draft pick this coming season.
Probably.
It made absolute no sense. You could have gotten Mo Bamba from the Magic for a second rounder.
To me, honestly, they could have gotten Hassan Whiteside for much cheaper.
Yeah, it just GM should have been fired.
You guys got me on this one. I'm going F2. Fuck it. That's F.
The thing
F plus.
Even if
Call
it all
Anthony
worked
Towns
out this year, they're second round at best. Like, it would take a plane crash by Golden State, Chris Rock and Devin Booker going down.
You say Chris Rock?
Or, yeah, sorry.
Chris
Might as well be Chris Rock. They both play defense the same way now.
True.
And then you're looking at two guys coming back from injuries, and John Wall and Kawhi Leonard. So I'm sorry. There's no path to the conference finals I see. It was just absolutely mind-boggling terrible. And then the very next day to hear Kevin Durant ask for a trade. What the fuck?
I mean, you could have got KD with that fucking package. You just
exactly
got KD just for the draft picks.
Probably, yeah.
To me, it was just one of those things where it's like they have the guys, talent-wise. Like Karl Anthony Towns gets blocks, but he's just not a good man defender. They don't play good team defense,
and he doesn't like to play playing the post either.
So to me, it's like you're telling me you couldn't find a veteran guy to help them, like play better team defense, assistant coaches, anything to get them to play team instead of trading your entire team's future for Rudy Gobert.
They could have gotten Robin Lopez before he signed with the Cavs.
The guy who started the whole like COVID shutdown for the NBA when he touched
right?
every fucking microphone at a press conference and then got COVID like a fucking dickhead. Like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
If his contract wasn't so
okay, Dad.
F plus.
The crazy thing is, if his contract wasn't so bad, this would be a C or B.
Right. And that's the part also the whole thing.
Well, not the contract. It's what they gave up.
Plus the contract adds to it too. Also.
It's the mix. It's giving up that much for a guy on a horrible deal on top of it. So when you combine both things, it's an auto fail.
All right, I don't mind the contract because Westbrook's been traded 3 times. So that contract can be moved up until the final year. It's not like he's making $45 million every year. His last year is $45 million.
No, it's more than that. 50 plus, I think.
No, it's 45 points.
Who, Gobert?
It becomes 46. Yeah.
Gobert? You sure of that?
Yes.
Okay. Who was I was reading that's in the 50s then? I don't know.
There's only like 4 guys right now in the 50s.
Then James Butler's in it. Is one of those 4, I believe. So, yeah. Anyway, next team here. Let's go through this quick. Some of these are pretty easy. New Orleans Pelicans. Only move they made was extending Zion. And to me, given all the speculation of him not wanting to be there, maybe he just want to be there. I don't know. His press conference says something otherwise. I don't know. I'll give him an A. Just because they kept the main guy back. Now, hopefully he plays basketball next year. But I'll give him an A. Because, you had that with CJ McCollum and what they got going on there. They were actually in the playoffs last year, too, on top of that. Without Zion, now they get Zion and they have the core back. I think this could be a team that can possibly crack the top 6 in the West next year. So I'll give him an A. Zach?
I give him a D+. I won't even give you a C for giving the extension to the guy. First off, you didn't have to give him the extension this year. How many games?
Just get out of the way, though. Get the commitment.
But how many games is he going to play before he says, you know what, I want to leave?
He's locked in 5 years, though. Locked in 5 years.
Whoop-de-doo. Now, yeah, you might get a great haul for him, but until you get that great haul, that's not in this year's offseason. They did nothing to improve the team.
I believe it's currently asset. And they have a solid team now as it is. That's constructed.
Oh, yeah. He was going to turn down $250 million next year. Give me a break.
All right, Kris?
We're going to go. Who's
Come to the
talking about
middle.
again?
I went A. Zack went D.
I went D+. I was
D
nice.
plus. She gonna go in the middle, Kris?
No, wait, what team are we talking about again? Sorry.
Pelicans.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go. I'll go B just because you lock up Zion. You made the moves. You already they made the big move with CJ McCollum before.
Right, that was the move.
Last year.
So you can't even count that as an off-season move.
So to me, I mean, they did what they had to do. You can't take a guy number one, have a flash of a generational talent, and not keep him. So I'm sure they did put protections in there to help them out. So they got what they wanted from Zion in that deal. So that's what they kind of won that deal. So to me, I'll give them a B.
When Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have both played more games in the last 3 seasons than Zion, I'm sorry, you do not get any grade for re-signing him before you needed to.
All right. Next team here, we have the New York Knicks. Of course, the big brouhaha for the Knicks this year. They signed Jalen Brunson from Dallas for a 4-year deal. Also kept Rich Robinson as well too. And they're gonna face tampering penalties now for Jalen Brunson. The Knicks gonna nick.
Yeah, half the league signed within 5 minutes of being free agency starting, but there was no tampering except for in New York.
No, I agree, but New York's always doing New York. I like Jalen Brunson. I wish him well. I just don't understand the Knicks going after him and paying that kind of money. Although that's the market, I get it. C minus. C minus. Zach, go ahead.
B+. I'm so. You know where he ranks now, salary-wise, for a starting point guard? 14th. 14th in the league as a starting point guard. Oh. You're telling me that the starting point guard in New York gets a C- from you? This is a B+.
Not him. This is the team in general.
Yeah. This is an actual improvement. They went above just re-signing players and brought in someone who could actually help them win more games, help their players. He's a great facilitator. You're taking the ball out of Reddish's hands so that he can be a better spot-up shooter. You're taking the pressure off of Julius Randle because now you have a big money guy who just signed. I think this is another almost a home run.
Oh, okay. Kris, you feel the same way too?
The team's interesting.
Wait. And pause real quick. Let's not forget trading the 11th overall draft pick and getting 3 future draft first rounders. Like, that should count for something. Because you weren't going to get a difference maker at 11 the way in which the New York Knicks draft players.
Okay. Good selling point. I like that. Go ahead, Kris.
So they were able to, they gave up the 11th pick, and they were able to shed a lot of salary. They shipped off Kemba. They shipped off Alex Burke. So they were able to ship off a lot of their dead weight. So in that sense, on just those contract offloading moves alone and not having to give up, they offset what they had to give up to unload contract and got some future picks back. So for that sense, they did very, very well. To me, the issue is Julius Randle, crafty, undersized power forward. RJ Barrett, crafty, not super quick twitch athlete, is a crafty scorer at the 3. Jalen Brunson, slower, craftier scorer at the 1. To me, it's all their guys play the same type of ball. That generally doesn't mesh very well. I don't see the fit. They're going to be a very slow team. And then you bring back Mitchell Robinson. I understand he's your young, homegrown talent. He's only getting better, but he's kind of reached his peak for me. So to give him $15 million over, each year for 4 straight years, kind of a bigger. They kind of said they're okay with being mediocre with their moves. Now, could they be lined up to make a bigger move? Everyone on Earth. Here's the thing. They seem like they're ready to be lined up to make a big move. You think they're telling their fans, oh, we're lined up to get Donovan Mitchell. But I don't see it. I don't see there's 0% chance I think they get Donovan Mitchell. I think they end up sticking with this team. And they may or may not sneak into the play-in and maybe the 8th seed, and that's about it to me. If they're 500, they should be ecstatic.
So the grade is what? A C?
Yeah, the good moves outweigh the bad moves. Yeah, it's about a C. C+.
All right. Next team here, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hold on a second. There we go. The only move they made was re-signing Luguentz Dort on a 5-year deal. I mean, C, I guess. It's a good player, but nothing else. Oh, wait, they drafted Chet.
They got at least 2 possible starters in the draft.
B-. I mean, I know it was 1 game of Chet, 2 games of Chet. Not bad. We'll see. But
I give it an A-.
Oh!
Yeah, you're talking super small market. They always hit on their draft picks.
Right.
Great player development. So you took the guy. You managed to get the guy with the highest ceiling in the draft. It's just for me. The only negative was giving Dort that contract a year early. But
Okay. What you gotta do, I guess, right?
I give it a B+.
Okay.
I want to say A-, but giving Dort that money when Giddey's coming up on money, I can't go A-.
All right, Kris?
A+. Sam Presti's a genius. Can't question his moves.
Wow.
Lou Dort, that deal's very team friendly.
Oh yeah, 17 million team friendly, but
he's coming up and he's been playing lights out. Chet, I think in the NBA you have to swing for the fences
and hope it works out.
If you strike out, the worst thing that could happen, your team sucks. You go right back into the lottery again. But if you hit, you get a game changer. To me, they got the biggest game changer. They got a guy who could be another Kevin Durant. You see the way he was playing ball yesterday? This kid could be special. I mean, he's more of like a post-up defending type as opposed to like a more perimeter guy like KD, but it's there. All he has to do is add 10 pounds of muscle each year. Not some crazy amount. 10 pounds a year in 2 years, he's all NBA.
Absolutely. Defense and offense. You don't find that too often.
Yeah, to me, A+. And the thing about it is the pick before them was probably a little different, but they stuck to their guns. They wanted Chet from the get-go. They knew what they wanted. They got it. Give me A+, Sam Presti.
All right. Speaking of teams that suck, here we go. Zack, it's time. The Orlando Magic.
Get the fuck out the league. They should take that team away from the
contract that fucking team.
Take it away from the owner, Betsy Davis, or I forget how you pronounce her fucking name too. But the Amway family, they should be forced to sell. They're not trying. You had a GM for like 5 straight drafts, swing for the fences, and then they chose to try and swing for a single. They took a running bunt down the first baseline.
It's on Gary Harris. Mo Bamba is back also too. F.
Well, again, you gave guys money that no other team in the league would have given half of that amount to.
Well, Gary Harris would have got paid.
would have gotten paid. He got $10 million a year. No, he would have jumped to anyone if they were offering even $8 million.
F.
Yes.
You know what they did?
Look,
They got just high enough to clear the cap floor.
I will give you an F if they manage to sign Sexton. Okay? I will take it from you need to be removed from ownership, your team should be put in the G League, to getting an F if you sign Colin Sexton. Because at least he can actually score at a guard position. Something we do not have at all right now.
Okay.
Chris, I get Pablo with Franz, so at least you have a couple forwards, and you'll throw 8 different 7-foot-tall centers out there, but our guard positions suck so bad.
Everything sucks with the Magic. Come on now. Chris, what you got, man? F2?
Just for the Paulo Banchero pick, they got a F.
Okay, let's move on. Next team here. The Philadelphia 76ers. As you know, they signed Peter Tucker to a 3-year deal. Also agreed to a 2-year deal with Daniel House. To me, the Tucker deal alone is a B. It improves the morale in the locker room. They're working on James Harden's deal, which is supposed to be team friendly.
It's signed, 109 over 3 years.
Is it signed already?
Yeah, it's as official as it can be. Yeah.
Wow, 349. That's not bad, actually.
That's amazing.
Wow, fucking down Maury, man. Just for that alone, I'm gonna give it an A. Change it to a B and A. Because now you're at least gonna get at least the best of Harden now. It was 2 to 3 years.
A-.
Yeah. Chris.
I'm not sure how I feel about the PJ Tucker deal, to be honest. I understand he's a hardened, tough player, glue guy. Maybe that's what they've been missing, but I don't know. I guess I'll give him a C.
I don't see what do you see the 3-year 109? I don't see that.
It's gonna happen. Don't worry.
Oh, so based on your prediction.
This is his Twitter feed.
Insider info.
Okay. Next team here, we got the Phoenix Suns. They did extend their star, Devin Booker. Also Damian Leaguer's 1-year deal. Bismack Biyombo's back for a new deal. I mean, they kept the team together for the most part. I mean, it's a team that went to the finals a year ago, was best record in basketball last year, but they melted down in the playoffs with Dallas. I mean,
didn't they steal someone off of Golden State also?
They're probably going to lose 8-2. Denver 8.
Okay. No, I for some reason I thought the Suns had signed a free agent away from Golden State.
Maybe. Was it Josh Okogel? I guess. I don't know. Anyway, B-. I mean, they're going to lose 8 at some point. I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, they're also obviously they're in a holding pattern for Kevin Durant as well too. So B-. Zach.
I'll give you a C. I didn't see anything that changes the needle for the team. They're a good team.
Right. Yeah. Chris?
Who are we talking about again?
The Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, they're essentially their whole offseason is going to be based on getting Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Like that's their whole offseason. If they don't, who knows what happens with DeAndre, and the whole team just who knows what's going to happen. But their entire offseason is going to be based on getting Kevin Durant. So as of right now, yeah, it's going to be like a C, D.
Yeah, I'm going to C also too. I'm not going to C. All right, next team here, the Portland Trail Blazers. They did sign Gary Payton Jr. To a 3-year deal, which announced earlier. Anthony Simmons to a 4-year extension. Yusuf Nurkic on a 4-year deal as well too. I mean,
don't forget the trade for Jeremy Grant.
Oh yes, that's right. C, B- maybe. I mean, they're decent moves, but is it moving the needle in the West?
Maybe not move the needle in the West, but it improves this team.
Yeah.
I give it a B-.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Like you get above the C when you bring outside players to your team that you know will improve your depth and your wins. You have to at least get a B. So B-.
Kris.
I'm going to hearken on the fact that they essentially took Anthony Simons, gave him CJ McCollum's spot. He balled out last year, deserved that money. Re-signed Yusuf Nurkic. Obviously, you're going to re-sign Dame to that absurd 2-year, $100 million deal. And I love the draft pick of Shaedon Sharp. They went for it all. This is the ultimate. It's either going to be a home run or a strikeout. There's no in between with this kid.
Yeah, I worry it's more of a strikeout for the fact he's not going to get enough minutes to improve.
I think if he can show it, I think he has a chance.
Because he struggled shooting in the G League.
I'm big on what the team's done this year, so I'm gonna go A.
All right, next team here we have the Sacramento Kings. Let's see. All they've done is sign Malik Monk to a 2-year deal. I mean, that alone is going to be B minus, right? I mean, he's a good player. I like Monk a lot, actually. Zack?
I will give him a B+ for having the courage to take Murray instead of Ivy in the draft. Because there were so many people trying to push them to have another logjam at a position they didn't need. So to go Murray, I think, was huge. Okay. And since I just harped on you can't include the McCollum trade for the Pelicans, you can't really use the Sabonis trade as an off-season move. So I'll stick in the B's for them with with the draft.
Kris?
I like the moves. You sign Malik Monk, you trade for Kevin Huerter.
That's right, yeah, that too.
They have they have a good mix of young talent. You still have Harrison Barnes there as a starting 3. De'Aaron Fox only got a year old, more seasoned leader now, De'Aaron Fox. And you still have Davion Mitchell, young, defensive-minded hound coming off the bench. And then Keegan Murray is everything. I mean, if that guy can fill in, he essentially should be what Trey Lyles, who's the backup power forward, should have been. If he can just fill that role with Sabonis healthy, that could be this could be a really good team. A good, young, fun team to watch.
Oh, they're definitely going to be fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I think they're a couple of years away from having a legit shot at competing in the West.
Yeah, but you know what? This is Mike Brown being humbled and taking it in for Golden State and having all that experience.
Yeah.
And he's been making a lot of moves, plucking top assistants to fill his bench out. Mm-hmm. Mike Brown's got a solid bench with him now alongside it, and that's the type of move, where if they put it all together, I would not be surprised if they went straight from being the fucking shit Kings to being like a 6th seed in the West.
That's a little too high, but I can still see play-in.
I'll give them possible 10th seed play-in, but I can't.
6 seeds too high.
I could see him. I could see him pretty high.
Yeah, I think
play-in. I get play-in
2 years from now.
Yeah,
you got to give Murray 1 year to find his feet in the league.
Correct. I think you guys sleep on how good De'Aaron Fox is.
Oh, I love De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on him. I don't see it, but when you have Horter and Sabonis and you bring in Murray, it's a great off season.
Yeah.
For a small market, great off season.
Remember, he and Malik Monk played in college together, so they have the chemistry already. That team's going to be interesting. I'm telling you.
All right, here we go. San Antonio Spurs, only move made. I mean, obviously lost DeJounte Murray, or he said to the Hawks. Georgie Jang, 1-year deal. What do they do in San Antonio? Is this it? Is this Popovich last year
No,
probably?
this is all by design. They are tanking for the Frenchman. And that's why I need to let Kris go first, because I know he's either looking at who they drafted or can remember it.
I'm going D, so whatever.
Please, Kris, go first to remind me of their draft picks.
They're very interesting moves. I'm not sure how I feel about the team.
Give him a D.
It's a very hodgepodge roster right now. And I love the fact that, Pop said, I'm down. I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm down for the rebuild. They drafted Jeremy Sochan from Baylor, who was just a prototypical old school 4, has no jump shot, shoots sub 60% from the free throw line. Very strange draft pick. The rest of the team, Keldon Johnson's had some ups and downs, but man, a Jakob Poeltl, I don't see there's no hope for this team as constructed right now. That's all you can say at this very moment. There's no hope for this team where there's not one shining star where you can point to and go, yep, this is what the future looks like in San Antonio. They don't have that. And that's the first time you can say that in a really long time. So for that sense, it's just one of those things where it's what are they cooking there? Are they really going for he's got a really long name, but yeah, that kid is super special next year. Victor, whatever the fuck his name is, French kid.
Victor Wanabelle or something.
Yeah. I mean, everyone saw that video of him destroying Rudy Gobert on a one-on-one for the Team France practices, and it's wow, this kid is unreal.
So what's the grade?
Oh, F. I mean,
all that for an F.
No hope for him. What do you mean?
All that for a fucking F. That's great.
No hope. There's nothing you can point to on that team.
Is Pop done this year?
No. You don't. If he was going to be done, he would be. Why would he destroy his coaching record by coaching these rebuild teams if he's not there for the long haul?
All right, next.
Hold on. I gotta get right. B-. All right. When you going in with the plan to literally tank, what did they pick up? 3 first-rounders for Murray? And now you have nothing that makes you even compete other than maybe the Magic fighting you for the 1 seed.
Right.
Now, I know the 3 worst are supposed to be even, but the way in which the Spurs get lucky with the draft, I love it. All right, Murray wasn't going. If Murray was good, you were going to be middle of the draft and never find a game changer unless you got real lucky. So I will go B-.
Yes, I do love the Murray trade because they traded him and got a shit ton before they had to pay him.
Yeah, smart. Not to mention, Trae Young gets hurt. Well, I mean, their first draft pick is 2023 again. So they stand a chance of having 2 lottery picks.
Yeah, they're unprotected as well. But to me, though, when you don't have even one name that you can fall back on the entire roster, it's not good, man. It's not a good look.
Yeah. All right, next, we got 3 teams to go. Here we go. The Toronto Raptors, Chris Boucher returns on a 3-year deal. They signed also Otto Porter on a 2-year deal. Thaddeus Young also still in the league. Thaddeus Young returns on a new deal as well, too. I mean, Otto Porter's going to help a little bit. Let's give it a C. C+. Standard. I mean, they're kind of in the holding pattern now for Durant too, because apparently they made offers as well to Brooklyn, including your boy Zack? Scotty Barnes?
Hey, they'll regret it, and that's why there's hesitation. Otherwise, if Scotty Barnes was already being offered with multiple draft picks and another player, I think the Nets would have already taken it.
Right.
Yeah, as of right now, they claim he's untouchable.
Right now, it's a C for me.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything to hurt them. They didn't do anything to help them.
Right. Typical moves. Kris?
They're a well-run team, good head coach, good roster design, and that's why they're the leading candidate to get them, because they have so much roster flexibility. You got Spice P there, you got Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet. No guy's making a shit ton of money, but OG is a great young player still. Gary Trent, great young player. All their players are hitting. Even the Precious Achua that they got from the Heat, great young player. Their team is just very well balanced from head to toe. They're not log jammed at any one position. I like what they're doing. Obviously, if they can land a guy like Kevin Durant and work that same magic like they did with Kawhi Leonard, and even if he gets, obviously I don't think Durant's got that same. You don't have that to like take that team in 1 year and take them to the finals and win it all. But boy, if you could get him there and he'd actually be happy with staying there for that whole 4 years, that'd be quite the get. But as of right now, I'll give him a B.
All right. 2 more teams. The Utah Jazz. So far, no reported signings yet, although they traded out Rudy Gobert for a bunch of picks and Malik Beasley. And what was the other first player they got in that trade, Zach? Malik Beasley.
They got Wessler, who will be their new starting center.
Okay.
This year's rookie from Minnesota. They got Vanderbilt, who's probably going to be one of their backup shooting guards, unless they let Mitchell take over at point and put Connolly on the bench, which I don't see. So I'm pretty sure Vanderbilt's going to be the first guard in to sub. So, and then they've gotten 4 first-rounders with only one that is protected, and it's barely protected. Wow. The Utah Jazz are the only team, in my opinion, that got an A+. And also, I would like to take my victory lap right now on you guys. I told you they would not be able to trade Donovan Mitchell. The guy that would get traded was Gobert. And Gobert brought in the all time.
We didn't account for stupid teams in the league. We still have those in the league. Minnesota, you're stupid. I gave him an A too. Hey, by the way, I gave him an A. Utah, I gave him an A.
Stupid or smart, it doesn't matter. I told you they weren't going to risk going for Donovan Mitchell. If there was going to be a guy who was going to get traded out of the two, it was going to be Gobert. And who's right? But look, that's an A++. Yeah. To get that kind of haul for Gobert, where you're getting a starting center,
right,
rookie starting center, and 4 draft picks, because I assume they're going to cut Beasley or buy him out.
Right.
Or try and trade him.
The other guy was Patrick Beverley, but they're going to buy him out at some point too.
And don't forget, they also got a first rounder for trading Royce. So, I mean.
Royce O'Neal?
Yeah, they picked up, in essence, 6 first-round draft picks during the offseason. Could anyone else do that? I don't think so.
All right, so I give it A2 as well. I give it A as well. So, Kris, where'd you go on this one?
You know what makes it an A++? The fact that they lost their fucking sorry-ass coach that couldn't get over the bump, and they replaced him with not a fucking retread, but with a young, hyped-up dude like Will Hardy from Boston. Take over, and that's why it's an A+. Because instead of shitting the bed like Charlotte did with their coaching position, they went and found some new young blood to take over, because most of them have worked out quite well.
Was there going to be
Dave Yeager in Memphis, all these dudes, the young guys coming in, they're doing great. So
Was there
give me
any
Will.
doubt that Danny Ainge was going to take an assistant from Boston?
No doubt. I mean, come on. It's like it was written in the stars, buddy.
Yeah, but
You
they
know?
also just went to the finals and kind of overachieved. So
Exactly.
it makes the stars align properly. But
Oh yeah.
I'm sure their prior relationship definitely helped. But give me the team that was able to turn their coach resigning a year early into a positive, dumping their worst contract on their team and turning it into a shit ton, and making their superstar happy because of that move, because now they know for sure it's his team. They're working with him. They're going to make it happen. And who knows, they might turn around into one of these other deals that, when one of these major moves happen, they need a third team to take on some salary or whatnot, or they might flip some of those assets into one of those superstars. So, you know what? They have a lot of versatility ahead of them. Utah Jazz A+.
And finally, the Washington Wizards. Of course, they held on to Bradley Beal, who's agreed to a 5-year deal, almost record. Jamal Wright also agrees to a 2-year deal as well. Just the fact they're able to get Bradley Beal to commit for another 5 years is a win. So I'll give him an A-, because they were rumors of him leaving. The rumors were strong about him leaving.
They should have let him leave.
Well, they can't get another star. He
is not a star. You're telling me a guy who shoots 36% from 3, who is not a point guard, who plays zero defense, deserves
That's not
$250
That's actually not a bad percentage, though. I mean, there's 3 is not terrible. I mean, he's over the mark. To me, 35 is my benchmark of like between good and bad for 3. So he's on the cup.
When you're jacking up 9, it's pretty bad. All right, this is a D-. Usually, I'll give you a C for re-signing your players, but I'm sorry, I think this is going to be the worst contract in all of basketball.
It may be in a couple of years, not right now though.
Yeah. How many people want to go play for him? Play with him?
I mean, they got Porzingis. Let's see what happens there.
Dude, they have
Porzingis got traded there.
They have Kyle Kuzma. They have Rory.
Will Barton.
They have
all those guys
interesting pieces.
Or they got traded there.
They got some pieces there.
But it doesn't matter. The pieces are there. You know what's the most interesting part of this contract? He is only the 10th player all time in NBA history to have a full no trade clause in his contract.
And he's the only one right now presently with one.
Yes, he's the only active player in the NBA.
That's crazy.
That also tells me he's going to be dictating where he goes a year from now.
Hey. I agree with that.
I would say that, but a deal has a 15% trade kicker, and typically you wouldn't make yourself harder to attain by including that into your deal. So I'm not sure. I think he's happy with the way the roster is becoming. He went from him and John Wall to John Wall being hurt and unavailable to now him and Kristaps Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma and Rory and Denny. They have some young talent mixed in. Corey Kispert, their first round pick last year, sharpshooter. The team's kind of set up for him to take over the reins as once like a solid bona fide 2 guard to now maybe being like the point guard and really making these guys better around him while still getting his. I think he's happy where he's at, man.
Oh, he's happy.
He's fucking rich. Of course he's happy.
But you know what? This team could easily get to where they want to get to. I mean,
they're
play-in tournament?
They're a play-in team right now. They're a play-in team. I mean, right now.
So, again, you gave $250 million to be a play-in team.
But you haven't seen him and KP together yet.
That's true.
You haven't seen what a team can be. And, of course, they have the son of one of their best players in franchise history as a head coach.
Would be interesting.
It's an interesting roster. Some names there. We'll see what happens there. But wow, we went almost 2 hours. Unbelievable.
Yeah, my wife and dog are pissed right now. They both want to come into the bedroom to go to sleep.
We're done anyway. Good job, guys, as always. That's awesome.